Hi everyone, my name's Joanne Griffin and I ran a creative session website with Caroline at 91 Magazine, all about how to identify your brand USPs and use them to stand out. So I wanted to share 5 tips from that session with you, just as a little introduction taster to the session. And if we haven't met before, I'm Joanne and I run a business called Arnold and Bird, and I work with product-based business owners as a retail mentor. So the first point is how to identify your brand keywords. So identifying your brand USPs, you want to think big and get lots of keywords that really describe your brand and identify what's unique, what's your sort of secret sauce about your brand that you want to portray to your customers. So it's best to start big with this and then we can edit down later. But a couple of questions you can ask yourself is, how do you want people to feel when they come to your brand? And this is really tapping into those emotional drivers of what pushes people to come and buy from you or use your services. The second point is, what is unique about you, your skills, your products, your processes, or your services? And there will be something unique about you and the way, why you do what you do. So really tapping into that. What are you good at and what do you enjoy? So think about what you're good at outside of your business as well. And if you're struggling with this, ask your friends and family to describe you as well. That's always good for some extra points of things that you don't often see in yourself. And then think about what words that you use constantly in your business or you use to describe your business. So this is obviously going to sum up your brand as well. And then finally, just think about what your superpowers are. You know, how again people compliment you, what you're good at, what you take for granted that you do, that you're amazing at, that maybe someone else doesn't have that skill. And that's what your USPs are and what you bring to the table. So once you've got a big list, then sit with these for a few days and then whistle this down to about 5 or 10 keywords. And like I said, ponder on them for a bit and think back, then analyze them and think, are these the words I want to portray and showcase to my customers? When a customer comes to my brand, is this going to completely sum up the experience and what they'll get from working with me or buying from me? And then the second point is reaffirming why you're unique. So mindset is super important when it comes to business. So, you know, I want to take these brand USPs and basically, you know, remind yourself how amazing you are. So, you know, I think creating like an affirmation card with your why you're unique on it and having them up in your workspace is amazing, because then you can just keep reminding yourself how brilliant you are. And you can also use these cards, these USPs, to sense check decisions in your business as well. The third point is then making these brand USPs visual. So I can imagine a lot of you are very creative business owners. So having, you know, things written in a Word document, you might not, you know, use so much. So if we make them visual, we'll keep them front of mind and use them in our business to our advantage, which is the whole point of this exercise. So you can represent your brand USPs visually on a mood board. So, you know, you can do this digitally on Pinterest or get creative and old school and do it using magazines and printed out paper. But think about your words and how you can represent them visually. You know, when you think of your words, what images come to mind? Also think about what images you're drawn to naturally as well. Think about how you can reinterpret these words in new ways, and also look outside of your niche for inspiration as well. I think this is really important, just so you can get different perspectives on how you can represent your brand visually too. Then when you've got all your brand USP work and your branding, point number 4 is putting it on a brand identity board. So this is how you can bring all of the work you've done together visually on one, you know, sheet of paper or document that you can use. So in the creative session course that I ran, there is a brand identity template you can use on PowerPoint, so it's really easily editable as well. But you can also look online for brand identity boards visually, just for inspiration too. But basically this board should include an overview of your branding, your brand USPs, your brand values, your why, you know, just anything that, you know, maybe a bit about your ideal customer as well. It's just anything that can, you know, you can look at, and then you can again sense check this when you're making a decision about product development in your business, or a new course or offering, or you're working with someone externally, you can then use this board to sense check your decisions against going forward as well. Plus, again, you can have it up in your workspace to use it, and just, you know, remind yourself everything you need about your brand whenever you're, you know, creating marketing, writing product descriptions or sales pages. And then finally, I want you to use, point number 5 is to use all of your brand USPs to stand out. So again, we don't want to create everything you've created to just stay in a folder on your computer and never to use it, you know, and that's why creating your brand USPs visually, having them front of mind is so important. Don't just create it and leave it. You know, use this to stand out, you know, instead of just highlighting, you know, what it is you do, or, you know, your materials or discounts in your products, for example. You can use all of this content instead to think about how your products or services make your customer's life better, because that's what they're looking for at the end of the day. So make sure you use it in your marketing, your tone of voice, your copy and everything. So that was the 5 points on how to make, you know, use your brand USPs to make you stand out. And if you enjoyed this, there is the full workshop, creative session workshop on the 91 magazine website. But I hope that you found this useful, and thanks so much for joining me today and listening to these 5 tips.